What is up, what is up, what is up? I am here to matchmake every UFC fighter from UFC Mexico Moreno versus Kavanagh. Every fighter that I care about, at least. Starting off with the fighters that I think should be cut from the UFC. Cut Chris Matinho. Cut Jose Medina. Cut Angel Pacheco. Cut Wes Schultz. Eric Silva. Douglas De Andrade. Felipe Buns. And arguably Christian Quinones with how he looked as well. These guys are not UFC level. Moving on. Damian Pinas should be fighting Ismail Nurdiev. Ismail Nurdiev coming off a KO win over Ryan Bloater. Damian Pinas coming off a KO over Wes Schultz. I want to find out what level Pinas is at. I want him to fight a guy like Nurdiev. And then after Nurdiev, I want to see him against a guy like Atabe Gutierrez because he himself is an Atabe Gutierrez archetype. Nurdiev, his chin hasn't really been tested yet in the UFC. I want to see it get tested. And I think this is definitely a step up in comp from the can that Damian Pinas fought. So I think this is the matchup to make. It's right direction for Pinas right now. Santiago Luna. I think Santiago Luna should be fighting Muin Gafurov. Santiago Luna is 21 years old. Okay, I don't want to see him take too big of a step up in comp, and I know Muin Gafurov is definitely a step up in comp from the guys he's been facing. Pacheco's a guy who should be get cut from the UFC. The guy Santiago Luna fought before that's not that great either. But, and like I know he's 21, but there's two ways that a young fighter who's like really young can go about their career in the UFC, right? Raul Rosas route, just rush, or Sage Northcutt route. No, there's three, because there's that way. There's also just can eventually step up in comp. That's kind of what Raul Rosas is doing, only they're stepping him up way too much. I think we give Santiago Luna a big push and then just ease him back. Push back. Like you're doing a freaking bench press. Explode and then come down slowly. Explode with giving him a jump up a comp, and then, just lower down his competition just a little bit, and then when he proves that he's done with that level of comp, push him up. I think he should be fighting Muin Gafurov. I think it's a great matchup for both. Santiago Luna looked great, looked fantastic. I think that this is a very interesting fight. I don't know who I'd be predicting in this matchup yet. But yeah, I think this is a good fight. I think whether he wins or loses after this, he shouldn't fight someone who is on the level of Muin Gafurov after this. After that, he should, fight someone a little lower, or like slightly worse. And then, next fight after that, fight someone who's on the same level, and then move up. Move up in comp, right? And after Muin Gafurov fight, whether he wins or loses, take a little... if he loses, definitely take a break. If he wins, take a small break, and then fight someone who's not very good just to keep up your hype, and then take a layoff. That's what I think he should be doing. That's a sick fight, by the way. It's a sick fight. Emmanuel Rodriguez should be fighting Kaya Sakura. Did Emmanuel look crazy good? I'd be picking him against Kaya Sakura. Kaya Sakura needs to fight somebody. He's been inactive. He hasn't fought since the freaking... Well, no, he has been inactive. But he hasn't fought since the Tim Elliott fight. And I know it's been like less than half a year ago. But, he's got to get back in there at some point, and I think he should be getting back in there against Emmanuel Rodriguez. Emmanuel looked very good. He finished Kevin Borjas. That was impressive. I think he should be getting back in there against Kaya Sakura, sometime this spring or this summer. Yeah, I think that's a good matchup. I think that'd be a fire fight. It'd be a fire fight, yeah. And I could see Emmanuel potentially being able to KO Asakura with the way Asakura fights. If Rodriguez is as good as we think he is, or as we think he's gonna be, if he KOs Kaya Sakura, a guy who's done a lot over in Ryzen, got a TKO win over Manel Cap, that's good for him. And he's not too young. He's 26, but he's a flyweight. He's a flyweight, so he's not too young. Flyweights they're young. We got Edgar Shires versus Andre Lima. I made this matchup, and I forgot their names for a second. I was like, oh, yeah, Edgar Shires, Andre Lima. Yeah, Andre Lima's a really good unranked flyweight. Kind of underrated. I think Shires should be fighting Andre Lima next, yeah. It's a good matchup. Seems like a good matchup to me. Just beat Felipe by buns. Can't think of anyone that's around Lima that isn't already booked or deserves a different matchup. So around him, meaning like the same spot he's in, and like turns out how good he is. Yeah, I think Lima should be fighting Shires. I'd easily pick Lima, but yeah, that's a matchup I think should be made. I think Daniel Zellhuber needs to take a big step down. Fight Jordan Levitt. Go fight Jordan Levitt, dude. Go fight Jordan Levitt. It's safe. You're not going to get hurt at all. He's a grappler. You're supposed to have good grappling. You already been fraud checked. Imagine if he gets grappling fraud checked. Crazy. He's already been striking fraud checked multiple times. Yeah, this is a good step down for him. Safe matchup. He's not getting finished. He should win this. This should be a relatively easy matchup. He should get a KO if he plays it smart. Probably going to win a decision. Yeah, I think this is a good matchup to make for him. Good, safe matchup, step down in comp after his loss to Bobby Green, who should be fighting Elvis Brenner. Elvis Brenner's on a losing streak against guys who would chin Green, against guys who would finish Green. Okay, Mike Tybeck Orabai, he'd beat Green for sure. Probably TK him on the ground. Who else? Oh, Esteban Ribovics. Yeah, Esteban Ribovics would beat the living crap out of Green. And who else? Was it Ignacio Bahamondes or Carlos Fernandez or I can't remember. But it's someone else who would also beat Green. Anyways, no. Anyways, I think that they should fight each other. I think Brenner is really good. He beat what's that one dude? He beat the one guy, right? He fraud checked. What was it? Graham Kotalidze? No, it was someone like that. Graham Kotalidze? Someone like that. Anyways, I think Brenner is very underrated. I think he's really entertaining. I think they're gonna put on a show. He had a close fight. He had a pretty competitive fight with Ribovics. I think that this is a very interesting matchup for both. We can't have Bobby Green taking too much of a step back up. We don't want him to get KO'd. He deserves to get. Let's let him potentially get on a streak. Because if he beats a guy like Elvis Brenner, that'll be really impressive. I don't think he does, though. I'm not confident, but I'm semi-confident in picking Elvis Brenner to beat Bobby Green. I think it's a good way for Brenner to get back on track, and I think it's a good matchup for Bobby as well to potentially keep a streak going. And if he beats a guy like Brenner, that's impressive for this current version of Bobby Green. Now, we got Chito Vera, or it could be just a straight-up fraud check for Brenner. Who knows? A lot to find out in this matchup, but I think Chito Vera should fight Raoni Barcelos. It's about time that Raoni Barcelos fights a ranked opponent. Peyton Talbot got a ranked opponent, and he beat Peyton Talbot. So give him the worst ranked bantamweight on the roster. Give him Chito Vera. Maybe not the worst. Maybe Font's worst at this point, but who knows? Let him fight Chito Vera. That's the matchup to make. And have Dave Martinez fight Amin Zahabi. Have him fight Amin Zahabi. They both just are coming off of wins over Chito Vera. One did it much more cleanly than the other. Dave Martinez. Amin Zahabi went to a split decision, arguably lost to Chito Vera, by the way. Crazy. A lot of people, including myself, were making jokes saying, Amin Zahabi versus Chito Vera. Let's find out who the worst ranked bantamweight is. Now, I think Dan Martinez would definitely wins this matchup. Yeah, I'm confident that he'd win it. But honestly, it's the only guy above Martinez that I pick Martinez to win. But it's a matchup that makes sense right now, and I think it'd be a good fight. So book it. And then after that, you'd be looking at Martinez versus Yadong or something. But yeah, I had him fighting Amin Zahabi. We got Brandon Moreno versus Aslam Abayev. Brandon Moreno needs to take a step down in the rankings. Aslam Abayev deserves to step up. After his wins against Jose Ocha and freaking Alex Perez. Moreno needs to step down, but it needs to be against someone who's still really high level, like Aslam Abayev. At this point, the reason why I want this matchup is because at this point, it's a very intriguing matchup. Okay? I don't know who I'd pick in this yet. I'm leaning on Abayev at this point, but maybe, I don't know, maybe leaning Moreno. This is a good matchup. I think it's the matchup that should be made right now. It's an exciting matchup. There's not any other matchups that you can make for Moreno right now that I think would have as much intrigue for the hardcore fans as this one, in my opinion. I like this matchup. And lastly, Loner Kavanagh should be fighting Brandon Royval. Originally, I was thinking maybe Loner Kavanagh should fight Amabayev or Perez, and it's like, oh, Isaac, that's below the rankings where he is because he's going to be at number 6, or maybe in the top 5 now. So, here's the thing. Yes, he beat Brandon Moreno, but he just got KO'd in his last fight. It's his first ranked win. Amabayev is a guy who deserves to fight up, so that could be a good fight. With the grappling, we don't know. And Perez would just be a fun scrap, and then he could, fight a Royval or Cap or whatever afterwards, or Horiguchi. But the thing is, I think a Horiguchi and Cap should be fighting each other, and I think Amabayev should be fighting Moreno, and Loner shouldn't be fighting someone below the rank that Moreno's fighting. That'd just be weird. I think he should fight Brandon Royval. Royval's coming off a KO loss, not very good momentum right now, and Loner Kavanagh, well, 2 losses actually, to Van and Cap. So I think that Loner should be fighting Brandon Royval. He should get the Brandon Royval test, and it's winnable for both guys. It's a step up from this from this Wash Moreno. Royval's chin has been messed around with recently, so who knows? Plus, Kavanagh's pretty good, and I think this is a good fight. I think it's a good match to make. Loner deserves it. After beating Moreno like that, too. It wasn't like a razor-close decision. No, he schooled him on the feet. He did. He just did. He dropped him in round 2 as well. Almost finished him. Beat him up in round 1. In round 4 and 5, anytime they were on the feet and not in the clinch against the cage, Kavanagh was whooping that ass. He was picking his shots well and was busting them up. Just look at their faces. Kavanagh looked fine. He looked like he had been, in a UFC fight, but his face is relatively clean for being in a UFC fight. And meanwhile, Moreno, especially after being in a fight with Brandon Moreno, his face usually looks clean after a fight with Brandon Moreno, unless you're Tatsuro Taira, who just destroyed him in the grappling. And also, Brandon Moreno's face just looked just completely messed up. He busted the crap out of his face. I heard Pinas likes doing the same thing to people. But anyways, these are the matchups that I think should be made after